Well, let's get right to it. 154 suicides have been reported during the first 155 days of this year in the military. That's 50% more than the number of our forces killed in combat in Afghanistan this year. Joining me now in the Dobbs Forum, psychotherapist Dr. Ravi Ludwig, clinical psychologist Dr. Catherine Smerling. Thank you both for being here. We have touched on this previously, the problem of suicides. Why is it so high right now in what seems to be a turning point in Afghanistan and for the military?
Well, I think in part, first of all, what we're asking the military men and women to do is really quite harsh. I mean, we're asking them to kill people and to be okay with that. And even though they are heroes and they are certainly serving our country, that is a lot to ask of someone psychologically, and they're not really a population that's trained to feel okay with seeking help. There's a lot of shame surrounding that. So they self-medicate.
Isn't there more psychological help available to our troops, more sophistication? I can remember a book from World War II in which they knew that there would be combat fatigue, as they called it, if you had kept troops on the line for more than 30 days. We've known that for 60 years.
But go ahead. Let me say that since 2009, the American military has done wonders to help with psychological healing for the military. But it is totally antithetical to what the values are of the military. There was a general that told his troops not to go see a therapist because it would make them weak. And they were supposed to be self-reliant. They were supposed to suck it up like men. So they are
We're
doing
talking about men
one
in some
thing.
cases who've been 3 and 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. What general would have the audacity to
But
say
I
There
also
was.
think, too, they're not returning to an environment that welcomes them as heroes. I mean, I'm not saying that that would help with all of their psychiatric and psychological issues, but the people who returned back from World War II, they were treated as heroes. They knew their place in society. Now you have people... We have mixed feelings about war in this country.
Do you really
And
think
it's
so?
not
Absolutely.
I think it's not a welcoming environment because our economy is tough. They're having a hard time enter into society. That there is mental health support for a period of time, but it's a limited period of time.
We're also seeing very little response from the leaders of the country. Whether they be governors, whether they be senators, whether congressmen, presidents, or president. Why is there this void? The American people, in survey after survey, in my own anecdotal experience, the American people support our troops 100%. They may not support the generals who've been inadequate in their leadership, I may say.
There is a support, but do you feel that they're treated as heroes with respect? Do we have parades?
When's the last time you saw a milary parade in this country?
Don't you think that has an impact?
We have nothing but lip service on television and a few other places to the sacrifice of these troops. When's the last time you think about this? Think about this, if you would. When is the last time you saw a military parade in the United States of America? I can tell you, it was in 1991. For me, when General Norman Schwarzkopf brought some of the forces.
And who are the heroes in this country? Celebrities, people who earn a lot of money?
They aren't the military and the people that are out on the front line trying to protect our country.
So what you're saying is that the conflicted, if I may say, the conflicts of our society that are playing out in fields of combat across the world are actually what's tearing up our troops, not necessarily simply the enemy.
It's exacerbating the already difficult things they have to deal with.
And it's making the men and women feel very conflicted about wanting to go get help because it is not accepted on many levels.
Well, maybe when you, as a nation, endorse a war that you call a long war and one that is without end and the longest conflict in history, when you don't support your troops in the most meaningful ways, when you don't acknowledge their heroism, their duty, their sacrifice, and make certain that that sacrifice is universal in your society, maybe the sickness is ours and not theirs.
And-
they are simply the victims.
And
They are the victims.
They are the victims, and they're isolated. And we really need, as a country, to be able to support our troops so that they can come back and become heroes
We're
in
able.
our society.
We're able. We just haven't got a class to do it the way we should, if I can put it that way. Bobby, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Catherine Smerling. Up next.